Good morning, students. Today, in lecture number 17, we are going to study in detail Sidney's views on classicism or his classicism, which he very well expresses in detail through his well known text book, Apology for Poetry or Defense of Poesy. In the earlier lectures, lecture number 13, 14, 15, 16, we have discussed Sir Philip Sidney's idea about the classicism in the first point, respect for rules. And in the respect for rules, we have also discussed about the classicism that Sir Philip Sidney expresses through his book Apology for Poetry. How, according to him, the 16th century or the Elizabethan poets have not maintained the classical pattern. So he requests the Renaissance poets, English poets of the 16th century, Renaissance, simply follow the classical norms of Greek, ancient Greek, Roman, Italian writers, who are not only the ancient poets but also the prophets, heavenly makers, gifted with foreknowledge of things and makers, and they compared with the God. So he requests them simply follow it and keep the pattern of classicism or classic literature in the Renaissance England that we have seen. And now, here in the point second, advocacy of classical meters, Sir Philip Sidney simply expresses his views here after the ideal norms for tragedy writing. He expresses and appreciates more the Garboduc, the first ever written tragedy by Thomas Sackville and Thomas Norton, though which is faulty with unity of time and place, but it is a work of classical type. Even we have seen, and again we will repeat here, the more appreciation for him, the Ballad of Chevy Chase. Means some work he has appreciated and also gave the examples because his main intention over the presentation, expectation, and the book writing Apology for Poetry is to make or to upgrade the standard of Renaissance poets writing, increase the standard, develop the patterns of the Renaissance or Elizabethan poets, so that the literature which is now in the degraded mode, reverse one, which don't have any idealism, classicism, will definitely will improve when once they follow the Greek ancient writers. So, my dear students, Sir Philip Sidney's intention behind his classicism, which he divides into the 2 points, one respect for rules and second his advocacy of classical meters, is to make the Renaissance poet aware about the classicism, what is meant by classicism, what type of classicism is. Once they came to know, then they will simply follow it. Then the literature in general and poetries particular of Renaissance England will definitely become of a classical type. So, what he says that we simply discuss here. So, he says, being a member of the Areopagus, you might have heard that member of Areopagus. Areopagus is the court in Greek. Is a court, and here means Greek Athens court. Greek Athens court. Sydney was the member of this Areopagus of the court where almost all decisions about the permission, consent, continuity, discontinuity takes place. And here Sydney was the member of that, and he being a member attributed means credited not only his praise of unrhymed classical verse but the more extreme view that verse. Now we have also discussed that Sir Philip Sidney is of the opinion and side of that many poets of his time write the poetry is full with rhyme, meter, rhythm, pattern, everything. And so, what one expect the content, the thought, the deep wit, wit means knowledge of the poet, what he want to represent through his poetry, instead of that bombarding with classical, we can simply say verse, meter, rhyme, rhythm. कारण की मूळ उद्देश महत्त्वाचा आहे, आशय महत्त्वाचा आहे, विषय महत्त्वाचा आहे, त्याच्या भावना महत्त्वाची आहे. नुसतं रिदम जोडण्याऐवजी, रिदम म्हणजे शेवटी समजा एखादं वर्ड अ न थांबतं की दुसरा तिथं अ न जोडायचे म्हणजे शब्द मोजून तयार करायचे, त्याचा एक रिदम म्हणजे एखादं यमक जुळवणे, ही आयडियल रायटिंगसाठी क्लासिकल रायटिंगसाठी महत्त्वाची नाही, जे की रेनायन्स पोएट त्या काळातले फॉलो करायचे. आणि त्यानुसार सिडने पुढं सांगतो की ही इज ॲट्रिब्युटेड मीन्स ही इज डेडिकेटेड ऑर हिज मेन पर्पज behind the advocacy of class meter. He says that it must be attributed, it must be attributed. Attributed means assigned or credited, assigned or it must be attributed or assigned not only his praise of, not only his praise for unrhymed classical verse, unrhymed classical verse, but the more extreme view that verse, but more extreme view that verse. Just look here what Sir Philip Sidney says about the advocacy of classical meters. According to him, it must be attributed, it must be assigned in the poetry, tragedy, that his praise not only for unrhymed classical verse but more extreme view that verse, means he appreciate more the unrhymed, means rhyme, rhythm, verse, meter, he never appreciates, never expects in the classical writing. That ancient Greek writers never give any weightage, significance or praise of this rhythm, rhyme, pattern that we simply follow in each and every poem. One thing. And so he further says, for example, meter, according to him, he says about the meter, means that is one part of the poetry which we can simply say basic rhythmic structure of a verse, or we can simply say lines in verse or lines in poetry, or basic rhythmic pattern in the poem. Is but an meter, according to Sidney, is but an is but an ornament and no cause to poetry. No cause to poetry. According to him, these verse, rhythm, meter are the ornaments, means try to more beautify the content. But that according to him, no cause to poetry means it doesn't make the effect, idea or superiority or nobility doesn't increase of the poetry, just it is like an ornament that you have used it. If you are not used, then it also doesn't matters to the poetry. That he simply say no cause to poetry means if you use or not meter, verse, rhyme, rhythm, that it doesn't affect, that doesn't beautify, that doesn't make the poetry more superior, it doesn't make any cost to poetry. So, his more praise is unmeter, unrhyme, unverse means that is his more intention. It is that according to Sir Philip Sidney is that his more preference is to the inner thoughts, knowledge, deepest meaning, wit that the poet want to convey to the generations and generations, instead just using the poetry full with rhyme, rhythm, meter. जे की पोएट्रीमध्ये फक्त भाव, आशय, विषय महत्त्वाचा असला पाहिजे, फक्त डेकोरेशन नको, तिथं पोएट्रीला काहीच फायदा होत नाही. जे की क्लासिकल पोएट्रीज आहेत, फॉर एक्झाम्पल गार्बोडक सारखी ट्रॅजेडी असो किंवा चेविचेस बेलट सारखी पोएम असो, त्याच्यामध्ये कुठंच कुठल्या पद्धतीचा राईम, रिदम, मीटरचा यूज नाही, तरी ते मोर पॉवरफुली एक्सप्रेस केलेलं वक्तव्य आहे, जे की वाचणाऱ्याला, ऐकणाऱ्याला परत परत वाचावं, ऐकावं वाटतं. एवढा डिपेस्ट म्हणजे खोलाचा भाव त्याच्यामध्ये व्यक्त केलेला असतो. सो ही सेज मीटर मीन्स द स्ट्रक्चर of the basic rhythmic pattern or lines in the verse. It just means rhyme, rhythm, everything. Meter is only verse like an ornament and doesn't make any effect or cause on the poetry. So, Sir Philip Sidney appreciates more to the unrhyme, not the rhyme. Why? Every poet of his time, of the time of Renaissance England or the 16th century, mostly follow the rhyme, rhythm, metered pattern, and their poetries are full with that. Instead, any type of meaning into that, any type of any deep thought into that, and any idea that snatches, that pulls the reader to go through it often and often. त्यात असा कुठलाच भाव नव्हता की रीडर पुन्हा पुन्हा ती वाचावं, बघावं आणि तो यूज करावं. फक्त फुल विथ दॅट डेकोरेट मीन्स दॅट ऑर्नामेंट दॅट डझंट मेक एनी इफेक्ट ऑन द आयडियल्स ऑफ द पोएट्री. So he says, there have been many most excellent poets that never versified. Means excellent poets never versified means never use the verse, means rhythm, rhyme, meter and so on. Versified means express in verse. And now he says, and now means 16th century or Renaissance poets of his time. 16th century poets or the Renaissance poets of his time swarm म्हणजे full with. Swarm means many म्हणजेच all. Swarm घोळका करणारे ग्रुपच तयार झाला. Many versifies. Swarm means versifies means most give prefer to the verse, meter, rhyme, rhythm. Versifies that need never answer to the name of poets. Never answers to the name of poets. कारण कि हे verse and rhythm never expected in the pattern of excellent poets or the classical poet never and nowhere use, appreciate and also request anyone to follow that. So, according to Sir Philip Sidney, that the rhyme and also the verse never add the beauty thought of the poetry that the poets of the Renaissance time or the time of Sir Philip Sidney are mostly used, means almost all the poets of his time use the rhyme rhythm, and so that what happens, the classical norms never focus on that. So he further says that, Sir Philip Sidney further says that it is not rhyming and versing. It is not rhyming and versing that make the poet. रायमिंग अँड वर्स यूज केलं तर तुम्ही पोएट होणार नाही, असं काहीच नाही. नो मोर दॅन अ लॉंग गाऊन, नो मोर दॅन अ लॉंग गाऊन मेक एन ॲडव्होकेट. जर एखादा वकील लॉंग गाऊन घातल्यानंतर तो वकील म्हणल्या जाईल याची शक्यता नाही. जशा पद्धतीने तुम्ही रायमिंग अँड वर्शिंग फुल वापरले म्हणजे तुम्ही एक आयडियल पोएट आहात ही ओळख नाही. जसं एखादा माणूस लॉंग गाऊन मेकते, मी आता समजा एखादा लॉंग गाऊन घातलो तर मी वकिलाचा पोशाख घातलो तर मी वकील कन्सिडर केले जाईल का? नाही. फॉर एक्झाम्पल, दिसण्यावर न जाता त्याचा जी थॉट आहे, आयडिया, जर मी एखाद्या कोर्टमध्ये न्यायनिवाडा केला, एखाद्याची बाजू मांडली तर मी वकील होईल, कारण की आय मस्ट हॅव द नॉलेज ऑफ दॅट फील्ड, द फील्ड ऑफ लॉयरशिप. देन ओनली आय विल कन्सिडर द लॉयर, अदरवाइज आय एम अ कॉमन मॅन. That way, if you use rhyme and versing, means you are not a poet. You are not considered as a poet. But there, beside the rhyming and versing, there is much more to use, write and present in the poetry that make you a poet. Then the use of, because rhyming and versing, these are the only ornaments that no cost to poetry. So you can't become a poet if you only use the rhyme and versing, or if you only wear the lawyer's gown, you can't consider a lawyer. So one must have the depth of knowledge into that field, so then only you will consider a poet or a lawyer, not only of the exposure, or we can simply show instead of making a pompous show. Here further he says his views on the same issue, that instead of making the use of versing and rhyming, instead making the use of meter, instead of making of so and so, that are not the symbols or ideal features of the ideal poet, they never cause any poetry. But according to Sidney, he is a great poet. The classical poets were great, and again he appreciates now, after a long decades, years, ancient poets he appreciates because they have nowhere used such rhyme, rhythm, meter, and so the figure of speech. But his more intention is on the thought, idea which he presents beside this pompous show of these meters, verse, rhythm, pattern, and the use of so many figure of speech. So he further says, according to him, expresses of poetry, he says, poetry, according to Sir Philip Sidney is the art of inventing, is the art of poetry. What is, according to him, is the art of inventing new things. नवीन नवीन वस्तू गोष्टीचा शोध घेणं हे पोएट्रीचं काम आहे, फक्त त्याचा पॅटर्न ऑर्नामेंटचा न दाखवता. इन्व्हेंटिंग न्यू थिंग्स बेटर दॅन दिस वर्ल्ड, better than this world, better than this world has to offer. या जगाला काहीतरी नवीन देणं हा पोएट्रीचा मूळ उद्देश आहे. नवीन नवीन गोष्टीचा शोध घेऊन काहीतरी जे माहीत नसणारी गोष्टी जगाला देणं, म्हणजे त्यांच्या ज्ञानात, त्यांच्या वृत्तीमध्ये, त्यांच्या आकलनात काहीतरी बदल होईल. मीन्स बेटर दॅन दिस वर्ल्ड हॅज टू ऑफर, म्हणजे देणं करणे. अँड इवन प्रोज दॅट डज सो, अँड इवन प्रोज that does so the poetry. According to him, poetry is just means not a use of full figure of speech or pompous show, but poetry, according to Sir Philip Sidney, means just invention. So there needs a lot of energy, wit and talent and hard work to the poet for the invention of new things. Because if you repeatedly presenting the same ideas that everybody knows, so then nobody goes through your poetry and your poetical lines. जर तुम्ही तेच प्रेझेंट करत असाल पुन्हा पुन्हा, तो कोणीच ते फॉलो करणार नाही. म्हणून तो सांगतो की पोएट्री इज, अकॉर्डिंग टू हिम, ही एक कला आहे, इज द आर्ट ऑफ न्यू इन्व्हेन्शन, नवीन नवीन शोधाची. बेटर दॅन दिस वर्ल्ड हॅज टू ऑफर, मीन्स जगाला नवीन नवीन देणं हे कवीचं काम आहे. ही एक कला आहे, नाविन्याचा शोध आहे आणि जगाला नाविन्य देण्याचं काम आहे. टू ऑफर इवन प्रोज, आणि प्रोजचं सुद्धा काम आहे. म्हणजे कुठल्याही लिटरेचरचा ॲस्पेक्ट काय आहे की नाविन्याच्या शोधात कवी गेले पाहिजे, की जगाला त्यापासून काहीतरी नवीन भेटलं पाहिजे. तेच रिपिटेशन असेल तर कुणीच तुमच्या साहित्याकडे बघत नाही. म्हणून सर फिलिप सिडने, so Sir Philip Sidney's main concern that we come to know through the apology for poetry is that the poets has to need to work hard. Instead, just using the same pattern, and then only the poetry of the time of Elizabethan Renaissance age or his time will become popular, well known, and so on, will follow the classicism norms or classical norms only when we follow the norms, patterns that beside the rhyme, rhythm, and so on. So Sir Philip Sidney, being a member of Areopagus, being a well-known critic and also ideal human being of the Renaissance age, expects more from the poets of his time, and he requests also them, don't go behind the rhyme, rhythm, and pattern, rhyme, rhythm, meter, verse, prosody, and so on. Number of ornaments are there that the poets use in the poetry to beautify it. But what happens? Instead, its effect become reversed, because the classical poets of the ancient Greek and other also simply focus on unrhymed classical meters. And according to him, rhyming and versing doesn't make the poetry and ideal poetry, and the poet ideal or classical poet. So, his love for rhyme and rhythm is appreciable because being an Englishman and an Elizabethan, he loves more to the rhyme and rhythm, and his love for it also the same. But when we think to lead our poetry towards the classical, then we don't have to run behind the writing of this. And so he gives more appreciation to the ballad like Cheviches. His more focus and appreciation after the Garbodak is Cheviches, the Old English ballad by Percy and Douglas. Because this is the only one Cheviches, one of the well-known ballad, which is written by the poets without any figure of speech or ornaments like verse, rhythm, rhyme, meter, and so on, but it is the work of such extreme and classical type that moved him powerfully wherever he heard it, because it moved him means liked more, moved him powerfully whenever whenever he whenever he read it or go it. So it means that he often and often likes to go through this old Chevy Chase ballad by Percy and Douglas, which is without the use of such figure of speech and ornaments that the writers, poets of Renaissance and his time frequently or often and in group use the common pattern. So Sir Philip Sidney is of the opinion that not rhyming and rhythm, not verse and meter make the poetry ideal, but beside the use of such ornaments, we can also make the extreme work, like he gives the example of Garbodak, which is without the unit of time and place, but is also ideal. Here, the Cheviches is without the rhyme, rhythm, verse, meter, such ornaments and figure of speech, then also ideal, and it moved him powerfully whenever he read it, or we can simply say whenever he heard it. जेव्हा जेव्हा तो ऐकेल किंवा वाचेल, he moved him powerfully. So he agrees that, he concedes that verse is a superior form of expression to ordinary prose. So verse means poetry is superior form, and it must be of or like the Cheviches, which one want to hear it, read it, go through it often and often. So in short, with this brief information about the advocacy of classical meters, that Sir Philip Sidney's request or concern for the superiority or the classicism is expressed very well in this lecture. In tomorrow's lecture, we will complete the remaining part of advocacy of classical meters. Thank you very much.